Hey guys, welcome to our Saga dialogue powered by Influx LED lights. And we have recorded our last episode, and this is the season finale. We had a 2 months long journey where we talked to various architects regarding their philosophy, their journey, and had some fun chat. And today, again, we are having a fun topic 10 things you should not say to an architect. And now let's go and see who we have for this topic today.
Hi, this is architect Karan Daisaria, and I'm super excited to be on this platform today with Sagar and Jay and Karan and my cousin Bhavik. Let's look how interesting this is going to be. I hope this is funny and interesting for everybody who's going to be listening to this.
Hi guys, this is architect Karan Daisaria, the design studio head of Daisaria Associates. Really looking forward to this fun session. f.y.i Arch has been pretty revolutionary when it comes to catering to some of the thoughts, design processes, and information for students. So I think if this is going to reach to a platform where we all want to be heard, then this is something that we can give back to the design fraternity and the architecture industry. So looking forward.
Hi, this is Shah from Access Architects.
Hi, I'm Bhavik Mehta from Green's Quest Design Studio. Thank you Sagar and f.y.i to invite me in this Arc Saga dialogue series. Hoping for the fun session.
Subscribe to f.y.i Arc and learn architecture with fun. And hit the bell icon to never miss any update. So 10 things you should not say to an architect. And hello everyone, and thank you for joining for the season finale of the interview series, Art Saga Dialogue.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us over.
Thanks.
So we are having a fun topic coming ahead, and I have some set questions ready for you guys, which we usually hear in every day in our profession. So I'm ready to shoot some of them at you. Actually 10 of them. But before we start, can each of you share one incident which happened with you, which was very funny, and you don't want it to happen again?
Okay. So there's this thing when we were doing a project, and usually the thing is that we would want our clients to be equally involved in whatever we are proposing and whatever we are doing for them. So we started off on a wrong foot, I guess, but I guess because he was also a friend, I just wanted to do it nicely, And after a point where, I was almost thinking that this may not go further, okay, but having said that, we were still working. And there was this one time when I said that, listen, you know what, we need to call it quits. I need to walk out of the project and let's clear our dues and everything. So he tells me, "Tumne kara kya hai yaar?" I was like, "What do you mean?" So he's like, "सारी requirements घर की मैंने तुमको दी है. फिर जो भी टाइल्स वगैरह सिलेक्ट करने गए वो मैंने सिलेक्ट किया है. जो भी तुमने स्वॉचेस वगैरह बनाए दीवार के ऊपर उसमें से कलर तो मैंने सिलेक्ट किया. तो सारा सिलेक्शन तो मैंने किया. तुमने क्या किया?" I was like, "But fool, वो 1500 कलर्स में से 4 कलर्स दीवार पे किसने डाले? You have 10,000 shops in the market to go to that one shop and select 4 samples and tell you that, okay, go and buy this. All right. This is just, I don't understand what people think about it, It's, I didn't respond to that at all. Okay. I left it there and I was like, boss, मतलब ये आदमी को मैं explanation भी नहीं दे सकता. Let's just go, Sorry, I'm sure people have had further funnier experiences, but yeah,
I don't know about funnier, but this was definitely something which is very similar. I think we've all had such equations where we either work for the family or we work for some relative, we work for some friend, and my God, the whole idea of that overlap of the personal and professional, it has never worked for me. I don't know about others. But it has not really worked for me, and that actually brings me to my point of I had a very close relative. Okay, so ek to kya hai na, first only I have to go through this whole. I am a product of nepotism, no, because my father is an architect, so I have to be very sugar coated with everyone, with how I'm dealing with people. And also I had this person who came to me, a very, very close relation. So he got an entire set of an holiday home bungalow design. Okay. Till like the concept was passed, and then we were doing the working drawings and all of that. And we are going on site, and he's like, Arena, sorry, he said it in Gujarati, but it basically meant that he sold off that plot already. So they were not going to. So wo heta na ki, unfortunately, there are a lot of moments where consultants or an architectural consultant is also treated at par with a vendor, as a vendor, Ki, haan, theek hai. Like the idea that architects and consultants are very replaceable. It is fine. So that is something in general I would not want it to happen to anyone, not just me, but to anyone.
But Karan, to that, sorry, I don't know if we are just like going away from this. I've just realized that people treat us like that because we let them treat us like that.
Exactly.
We've just had a very recent client who I let my guards down, because I wanted to treat it as a very personal project. Okay. And by doing so, somewhere I realized down the line that I put my value down in front of them. So as much as they would respect, we've got, at the same time, we're doing 4 more projects, okay? And everyone is so much more respectful. They value your time. They know that, okay, you are a designer, a professional whom they've gotten on board, okay? But this one client, I don't know what went wrong what went wrong. I know that it is my fault that I let them treat me like that, if and I've been told this a lot of times, that your professional life should be different and your personal life should be different, even if you're working for a friend or a family, but keep professionalism separate. Do not mix the two, and I guess the moment you do that, okay, the moment you're not professional is when they take you for a ride.
Okay, I had a very recent experience, after publishing all these projects and all the awards we received. Uske baad mein I received a call, a client who is very nearby a place. उन्होंने बोला कि I want you to design 5 bungalows at a time of my friends in my house, and the carpet area is 4,000. So give a good quotation. So I gave him a good quotation. Karan knows what is my charges and all. So it's too low, what we are doing, right? Then also he just, after receiving it, he called me and he said, कुछ तो reasonable कर दो. And I बोला, reasonable means what? What is your expectation? तो बोलता है कि 1 lakh per bungalow. So I was
oh god, this is never ending, yeah. It's damn funny.
So I have probably something to I'll tell you. Obviously, all of us have had a mad amount of experiences just with regards to whether you call it respect or you call it financial sort of not being compensated enough and stuff like that for our efforts. And one thing which I realized over time was it is partly to do with the fact that we as architects are always very emotionally connected to our work. So beyond the point where all listen, we want to do the work for the work, forget the money aspect of it. And what I realized is that you're not going to have anybody else, whether it's a vendor who's selling you concrete or forget anybody who's going to say, listen, I'm going to make a loss, but I want to get attached to this. At best, they'll say, listen, I'll make less of a profit or whatever because I want to get attached to a project. And I realized that there's a problem which needs to be solved. And inherently, I tried sort of doing that, and I realized that that's not happening. And one thing which now we do is I have completely moved myself out of the commercial discussions. So one of the, and one of the things that really help here is that I'm very clear. I'm like, I'll take care of the design, and that's sort of my baby. And obviously, we have a few associates in the office who, etc., do that. But we've kept this, an associate who's been with us for 25, 30 years, who we've sort of demarcated. They handle contracts, they handle payments, etc., etc. Because I think that separation was absolutely necessary for anybody. So, whoever's working on the project should not be handling anything commercial on that project, because that to me is a recipe for disaster. I think as architects, we've sort of, at least I have learned over time that we can't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. So I don't know if this will work for you guys, but at least I think it worked reasonably well for us.
I can't unfortunately afford to pay another associate to discuss the fees as yet. But
Karan, you'll be surprised. I'll tell you what. So every office would have certain benchmarks with regards to this is what we're looking for. So the associate is not necessarily making up the fees. You have certain standards set up. Listen, this is the size of the project. This is what our fees are. This is what our scope of work is. And you have approximately 10%, 15% up, you sort of quote and you get down, and that's your bottom line, yes or no. So the only difference is that when you're sitting on the table yourself, having these discussions, and someone's like, "Arey, make it a little more reasonable." Often what happens is that you get emotional about it, which, unfortunately hurts us only in the long term. So if we want to make sort of world-class firms, it costs, to be able to do that. So how do we make sure we sort of get paid reasonably at the same time we do the best work feasible? Also, I should tell you that so we've got an accountant who does all follow-ups. So for follow-ups, I'm not involved, then the associate gets involved, and after 10 follow-ups are involved. I'll tell you the amount of bandwidth it has sort of opened up to get out of payments, contracts, like that entire thing. And yeah, I realize I'm really lucky that, we have that little infrastructure available, and not everyone sort of might have that. But I'm saying even if there are two people in the office, the person who's designing don't have them.
Not negotiate the fee.
It's literally that, because I think we have a little bit of a weakness when that happens, which I think is the reason we sometimes produce the work that we do and why we're so passionate about it. But I think we should make sure that we're not being taken advantage for it also.
So, but concluding, I think, concluding your first question, it basically meant the thing that we should not hear is, "Sir, kuch reasonable kar do." So that is the conclusion.
Yeah. That might be the whole title of the show.
Yes.
So apparently, Karan, his question doesn't end here. This question runs throughout this entire topic, the whole discussion that we are having right now.
It's the first thing.
So, okay, just to make it a little lighter, okay, is when somebody says, "Are you an interior?" Okay. Dude, what do you mean by "are you an interior"?
Are you architecture?
Okay,
Have you heard "are you architecture"? Have you heard that?
Again, they ask, "Are you engineer?" Sometimes they ask, "Are you engineer?"
So I'll be like, "No, I'm an architect." Okay, it's like, "Acha, okay." And then the other thing is, on a lighter note again, when they introduce you to other people, "He's our interior." I was like, "No, I'm your architect who's doing the job. Even if I'm doing your interiors of the house, I am still the architect." Okay. Due respect, okay. Anybody out there who's an interior designer who's listening to this show, I have no hard feelings. But for me, I'm saying that you need to tell me that you're an architect.
Correct.
So I still get to hear this from distant relatives, and also people who still don't know what actually architects do. Exactly. I still hear, "Beta MBA nahi kiya?" No, nahi, zarurat nahi
padi. Many times we have to educate our client, right? And that's why our charge is like this. That's also we have to mention.
So basically, I am very I'm having a very young practice. So I just jumped into practice now, but I am sure कि ये सब experience मुझे आ चुके हैं already.
I'm sure. We don't doubt
Because it's the first
that.
experience. It's like the first thing. The client is first going to do this one.
My
And
client
plus
was कि मैं आपको pay कर दूंगा and you will run away. So like, dude, why I'll run away? I want whole of my payment. I don't want just the advance.
Oh
I'll
God.
design for you and I'll take the whole payment. I'll not run away in middle. So okay, I'll start with my first question. Like
Yeah.
10 things you should not say to an architect. The first question from a client to an architect: are you being sarcastic?
I had one experience with this. Yeah. So, like sometimes what happens, like because all these references and now these pictures and everything is available on web, right? So they come up with references, right? And then they started saying this is what, या फिर कुछ अपने friends के वहाँ पे या कहीं पे देखा, so they come up with those ideas and they started with saying that this is what we want to make, this is what will look good instead of what you had designed and something. So what I give answer in terms of like a sarcasm, I always tell them, will it suit with your personality, or will it suit with your status or something like that? So then he will start thinking ki, oh, isne kya bol diya? So again, then we have to educate them like this is not going to fit with the entire theme, so it will not be part of this particular design, though it looks good or bad, that is the second thing, right? But yeah, sometimes we have to be sarcastic to hurt them in a sense where they actually start giving you respect, and then they actually start understanding your designs and everything, right? So that is necessary in that sense.
That's true.
Yeah.
So anyone wants to add in this?
I've never experienced something where someone has thought that I'm saying something sarcastic, except the fact that I think they're not, clients are not much aware of costings and budgets when it comes to materials. So I think, it majorly means that, when a particular price is given and they have that reaction that, huh, what? So that, because they're not very sensitive to the costing, they do not, they feel that we are,
No. But in fact, I have asked my clients a lot of times that, are you being sarcastic? Because where you are like bang on working with your aesthetics and everything, okay, and suddenly there is like an ultra super modern chair that they will propose, saying that let's do this chair, and I'll be like, dude, are you real? मतलब कहाँ ये chair का design और कहाँ अपना घर का design दोनों में तालमेल नहीं है? What are we talking? So yeah, but never otherwise.
Yeah, never otherwise. Good.
So
And these kids always have other kind of
some of this stuff's gonna happen.
He should totally know what his father is going through.
It seems like this is.
It is definitely getting
part of that.
Yeah, so involvement of these kids in the project, like the client always involve their kids into the project where we have to be sarcastic, right? कि आपके बोलेंगे मेरे बेटे को तो bunk bed ही चाहिए. I want blue color in my house. Anyhow, you have to do it. So then we have to really.
We're doing a project right now.
Yeah.
More than the client, their daughter is so clear of what she wants in the room. I am hoping that they will never listen to this and watch this. Okay. But trust me, I would sit with the daughter and finish the room faster than sitting with the parents and finish the room. You know what I mean? And this I'm not taking that as a particular example. I'm saying in general that sometimes kids are so particular of what they want and they're so sure. I think if you just follow their brief, designing is done. Then there's no reverse forward. Very few kids, of course, but yeah, it's amazing to come across such kids.
So have Instagram and social media got awareness because of that?
See, it's not just Instagram or social media. Today, the kids have access to the entire internet. There are plethora of options and apps that are available for them. There are games that allow them to design their rooms and pick up furniture pieces and colors and all of that. So I think today's generation is way, way, way ahead than what we were back in our age, you know. So it's amazing. Like, you know, Pinterest is just there. People can just, they'll just type kids' bedrooms and they'll get everything. YouTube is there. So it's just amazing how these kids are so sure of what they want.
So the next question, I think the when we all were young architects, we must have heard this. I cannot believe you're charging so much for just a few drawings. The computer does it
Wait.
all
What
by
are you
itself.
talking? What are you talking? Young architects. I still heard that after 10 years of practice. Like this thing doesn't end. So there are a few people, then you just let them go, of course. But yeah, we've had such people, yeah. It's madness. We had a project outstation, spoke, the fees were frozen, and again, like, you know, you don't behave professional enough because you give the benefit of doubt to the opposite person. I went there, spent 3 days there, came back. It was on war footing. The team is working here, okay? And then he says, "Arey, mujhe ye pasand nahi hai, wo pasand nahi hai, falana nahi, dhikna nahi." So I was like, you know what? Chhod de yaar, matlab tu kar le, because I don't think you need a designer. You need a contractor who can just design what you want. All right? He's like, "Acha, okay." So I was like, okay, fine, but you know, X amount needs to be released for whatever work we've done for you. He's like, "Yeah, Karan, but whatever you've designed, we're not going to be using it. So why are you charging us?" I was like, "But I'm charging for my time that I've spent on you, 3 days at site, one whole week in Mumbai, working constantly on your project." He's like, "Yeah, but you know, what is the whole point of it? We don't like it. We're not going to be using it, whatever, whatever." And that person has still not paid us.
That's true.
It's just amazing. He's like, "Eh, but सारी डिजाइन तो मैंने दिया है ना, मतलब मैंने ही आपको बोला कि मुझे यहाँ पर वॉलपेपर चाहिए, मुझे यहाँ पर पेंट चाहिए." I was like, दीवार है तो वॉलपेपर और पेंट ही होगा ना, और क्या ही होगा, you know. मतलब I just don't get this, यार.
I just want to add to what Karan is saying. Actually, this is very, very common in the developer lobby as well. Okay,
Yes.
I think Jaivai will second my thought that we end up giving an entire proposal. They make us all compete. Now, see, I'm obviously talking in a reference of, you know, practices who are catering to developers directly as well. So they make us compete कि हाँ भाई जो maximum FSI और FAR consume करेगा हम project उनको देंगे. They don't give a damn about how that project looks like, but I don't even want to take names. So I'm just going to say that, you know, in reference to, but is that project even human to live? Like, you know, why is it every time about the consumption of the maximum potential and the maximum profit that is churned out of the project? So I feel when we don't do that, when the intention is more design centric, when the intention is more conceptual and they don't sort of resonate with it, then they start negotiating on a lot of other things. I don't want to actually talk about money. I want to talk much more in reference to, you know, how people are sort of treating architects. Because, you know, Jaibai, I just recently came across, my team just shared some photo with me. Bhavik bhai, 999 mein architecture exterior render with design, elevation. The issue with our fraternity is, number one, the issue of COA, which I'm going to be very open about, that if you're going to let anyone and everyone do what they want to do, I mean, in terms of design, in terms of architecture or anything, then, I mean, you can't give someone who is in first or second year MBBS to do a heart surgery, no? So then why is that the case with architecture? So I think that's a constant battle, because I've literally been told this, that अरे आप design कर रहे हो, you're giving these many drawings, इतना ही तो करना है, तो आप इतना charge क्यों कर रहे हो? So again, like I said, I don't want to go to the charge bit. I'm talking about the attitude. Yes. The inculcation of that attitude towards an architectural consultant is something which in India we have not seen. Like rather, I'll not say India. In big metros, I have not seen. I have gone to Bangalore, I've gone to Nagpur, and they treat people with utmost respect. And I'm not sure of what
Nagpur,
the situation.
No way. No way.
What are you saying? I've got a lot of respect in Nagpur.
So I am from Nagpur. I'm practicing in Nagpur. No way.
Let me tell you this. This is very interesting. So what I have found is that whenever you are an import, whether that's domestic or that's international, so every time we travel and whatever work we're doing, so we're doing work across and now we're doing work internationally, wherever we travel, we get a huge amount of respect. People sort of spend that time, like, there's workshops for 2-3 days. Everybody's there, they are at full attention, etc. It's kind of funny. Every time you're sort of going outside your base, you tend to do that. I can totally understand that those who are actually from that place don't have that same opportunity. And the funny thing also is that I think that, much to your point of what's happening, beyond, because, both the practices are sort of, are not young practices, I would call. We completed 40 years in 2020. So, the funny thing is, a lot of this stuff is stuff which never goes away. So, like what Karan Desai was saying about, like, I'm a 10-year-old practice. I'm like, you know what, let it be a 60-year-old practice, let it be a 100-year-old practice. That's not going away, because that's sort of the attitude of, the value of service or the value of labor in our country. I don't think that's going to change unless there is a demand supply mismatch. So it's one of those things where you sort of learn to live with it, and you try and figure out how to work within that more than anything else.
He just said it in such a positive way, just so that no one else is getting demotivated to continue architecture. It's a very good thing.
Listen, a lot of these guys are students.
But yeah,
I genuinely feel this is just, I guess, who I am inherently. I just feel like, this is where we are. We don't have options beyond sort of working where we stay, right? So, you stepping stones, and you sort of try and find a way to kind of get it to work in a way where you are comfortable and the guys opposite are comfortable. But if that's not happening, how long are you going to be pessimistic about what's going on here? It's not going to last very long with the kind of stress we're anyway under. We need to find a better way.
I have a good incidents to share. Yeah. So one developer came to us, and he wanted kind of a floating come development and a huge scheme, right? And then he started it like we had first initial conversation on development projects and how we will go about it at all. So then he started it like there is one more a Singapore based architect who he wanted to involve in the project, right? And then we came up to the stage of fees, and where I had to release the contract. So at the time of conversation, he started it like this. मतलब मुझे पता है he was giving 1 CR to design only kind of a master plan, and then he was asking me to give a reasonable quotation, because I'm the second architect who is going to actually, who we're going to deal with that particular project, right? So that was kind of a level, like they considered us, like, so that there where this fees always matters.
Yes.
And I always, like being an academician, I always teach to my students that always have your, I mean, give your weightage. Always stand by your side. Don't never degrade yourself by reducing your fees, right? Otherwise, the people you will get, your client you will get like that only, where every time you have to compromise with the fees. So don't do that. So that is true.
That's true.
Yeah, the other thing that is really annoying, what you should never do to an architect once you hire them, is send reference images of other architects. Okay. But okay, let's talk about this thing. We're doing this project, and this client comes to us saying that, oh, I've seen so many people and this and that. We really like your work. You are eccentric and all of that. And we would want a Karan Desai touch to our project. I was like, great, awesome. And then what happens? 15 days down the line, he sends me a screenshot or a post from a couple of my contemporaries. Okay. So for the first few times, I was like, acha chalo, he's sharing, no problem. Very good, nice, whatever. After a point, I was like, that dude, if you want that person's job to be done, why have you come to me? Just go to that person and get it executed. No two designers are going to think alike. Okay, given the same space, okay, for example, Bhavik will design it completely differently to Jay and to Karan and to me, right? So I mean, like, design is very, very, very subjective and nobody is right or wrong, right? बट अगर आपको उसका काम पसंद है तो उसके पास जाकर के करा लो. अगर आप मेरे पास आए हो तो मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ, मतलब मेरा साथ में आप जर्नी करो ना. बाकी लोगों का रेफरेंसेस डाल डाल करके मतलब खिचड़ी बनाना है क्या इधर? यू नो, he stopped after that. Okay, he stopped after 10 days. Okay, he, by the way, out of क्या बोलते हैं, sheer आदत, he must have sent me one more reference of somebody. Okay, and then he messaged, sorry, it was just like, by the way that I sent it, ignore the message. Okay, it was fun because you also have that rapport with the client. It is nice. But in general, if I have to say to people, that if you are hiring an architect, okay, you've hired him for his aesthetics, for his design, design ideology and his concepts and all of that, then have faith and trust in him. Yeah? Like, he'll do a good job for you.
तो मेरे एक सेम केस में उन्होंने मुझे व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में से निकाल दिया. It just picked me out and then they share those images in between them. They discuss and they come to the office to discuss with me that we want like this.
Oh my God.
So it happens. This happens.
I should, this is something which I realized I'm actually really bad at over time, where like I refuse to take any end user work. So if you are going to stay in the house or you're going to stay in the office or villa or whatever it is, I have realized that that's actually a lot more about handling the personality rather than the work. And I have found that personally I'm not great at that. Like, I can't maybe I'm not good at the communication or whatever. I feel it's very difficult for me to sort of work like that. And so again, there are other guys, dads with me, my first cousins with me, etc. So they are better and sort of they handle it. But what I realized over time is that it's one of those things where when you are doing any work for an end user, unless they and you are in sync in terms of the aesthetic that you are sort of thinking about, or what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, what type of design do you enjoy. So I've done some work, but that's when, someone has been like, listen, you did this, I absolutely loved it, can you do this for me? And then I'm like very clear, listen, then I'm going to do it my way. I don't want, I want a pink wall here and I want a gray wall here. That all I'm not going to. So I think it's really funny. They don't teach this in architecture school, and they really, really should. Just managing relationships or managing personalities, I have found is so incredibly important in doing work like that, because obviously, for them, that's going to be their place. So especially if it's someone's house, you can't tell them, like the kid says, listen, I want this. You can't say, no, you should not do that. Same thing to a lesser degree if it's an office. Like, they are going to spend a lot of time there, etc. So while the layout and stuff like that is, unless you are in sync with regards to what they're looking for and what you are sort of thinking and how you're thinking, I find that it's one of those things where you would rather, I would rather sort of step back because it's not one of those things I do particularly well. And it's just something which I feel it's, there are others who are much better at it. Let them handle that rather than sort of me getting involved. That's just how I feel. But I do feel that in architecture school, there's a whole bunch of stuff they should be teaching that they don't teach us. I'm a big, so I try and sort of, do as much as I can with regards to sort of meeting deans and sort of trying to help wherever I can. but I feel there's a big gap there in terms of what they should be teaching and what they are teaching when someone sort of moves out. And that's not necessarily to do with even like architecture as architecture. I think it's so much broader than that.
So,
Yeah.
Sagar, we are going to go endless on one question. You're not going to get done.
Yeah, I think this will be a long interview, and I have to make it in parts and upload it.
Oh, baapre.
It's done. I mean, Sagar, your time is up. It's 4:50.
Hey guys, I hope you liked the video, and I think we kept chatting more than 1 hour after this particular part, and the second part of this episode is coming out tomorrow. So please stay tuned and please like, share and subscribe to my channel. And also, if you have missed watching our previous episodes, the links are added in the description, but do not miss to watch the next part tomorrow. So bye.